Well, if you had to pick a food item that would represent our culture and our society and our food production system, unfortunately, I think it would be the Happy Meal. It's ubiquitous, it's everywhere you go in the United States. Every child growing up has had them. French fries, and this is the most eaten, the most widely consumed vegetable in the entire United States. It is a mass of fat and salt. It is probably the least nutritious vegetable you can eat. Real apples, they've been peeled, losing a lot of nutrition, and I don't know how they never turn brown, but I find that endlessly disturbing. The things that every human is hardwired to enjoy: salt, fat, and sugar. And so even the bun is sweet. The overwhelming taste of ketchup in the United States is sugar. This is another sugar delivery system. Doesn't have a lot of flavor, isn't very good, but it's what we're used to. American cheese means this pasteurized, processed, utterly flavorless ball of fat, and that's really what it is. All of this taken together is not a healthy meal. That's not really the best thing for the world. It's not the best thing for people to be taking from the United States, but it's what we offer.
Spend my days with a woman unkind, smoke my stuff and drink all my wine. Made up my mind, make a new start, going to California with an aching in my heart. Someone told me there's a girl out there.
The number one reason that new small farmers fail is undercapitalization. They just don't, they're not prepared for the amount of money that has to be invested. Even if you're doing off-farm work, which almost everybody does, you need an enormous amount of money. You've got to have farm equipment. You've got to buy stock. Everything that you do costs more than you expect it to. If you sit with a list of figures and say it's going to cost me this much to put up this much pasture fence, you can just increase that by 50%, partly because you're new and starting out doing it, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And so beyond purchasing the property, which is nowadays in Vermont going to be minimally $100,000, $150,000, and that's going bare bones, you're going to need another $100,000 worth of equipment by the time you're really operating at anything like a commercial level.
My name is James Gay. I'm the owner-operator of Riverbanks Dairy. I started off with one cow, worked my way up to about 60. I keep all my own heifers. We don't buy any heifers in. It's all closed doors now. That way we don't bring anything in that we don't need to. I usually try to get up around 3 and then I usually get something to eat. Sometimes I get up at 3:30 if especially on a Sunday, I like to sleep in a little bit more. So push my feet up, give the cows some hay. Then I turn my barn cleaner on, get all the barns, get this one and that one over there clean. Then I start putting the silages out, get the silages done, green them, get the side where they're all up. Then I go through, I scrape them all, bed them up. I'll start milking, then I'll go with my manure, get done that, and go have some breakfast, take on whatever the day is. Every day is different. Like today I was making fence. Tomorrow I got a list of repairs I gotta do. Last year I had to spend almost $9,000 actually just on repairs on tractors. You got your fuel, which fuel is always being used constantly. You have the tractor on the manure spreader, the bucket tractor. Right now, just making fence, we're running fuel. And then come springtime, the fuel trucks here, it feels like every day. Just constantly filling up because the tractors never stop.
As far as social benefit, they are part of the community. And usually in a way that the really large farms aren't. As a country, the more people we have involved in farming, the more diversity of types of animals, breeds of animals, the more diversity of crops that are being grown in a given area benefits everybody. It's a more sustainable agricultural system.
Agrimark is where my milk goes to. It varies. It goes to Chateauguay, which would be macadam cheese, or it would go to Middlebury for Cabot cheese, which is high-end cheese. I know they just started doing Greek yogurt. We used to, I know for a while, what is it, Chobane, I believe it's called. Our milk used to go and help make that. Would be like a family friend plus a coworker to my stepfather. She comes and gets milk, a couple of gallons of milk every so often to make her own mozzarella cheese, because you can't have, like the store-bought milk cheese, like the store-bought milk, can't really milk that mozzarella. So they come here and give me a little bit of money, and they give us a little bit of cheese in return, just as like a thank you. Then my parents and I, we drink milk from the tank. And personally, I feel if you can't drink or eat your own product, you shouldn't be allowed to sell it.
The real key advantage, to my mind, for the whole society of organic is that if it's organic, you know that it is done, it's prepared, it's grown, it's raised in a way that will maintain the health of the soils. That's one of the kind of fundamental principles. I decided a long time ago that the costs of things like certifying my hayfield is just an absurd cost, and the raise in price from a business standpoint that I would get by being organic isn't enough to justify even that. Also, antibiotics are wonderful things. That's why we're not all dead of bacterial diseases. But under some of the organic rules, I couldn't use that animal again, or couldn't certify it as organic, which makes no sense.
We thought about going organic last fall, but because of the market got flooded, if you were able to get in, it was going to be $29 organic with $800 green bill and all the other extra stuff. You would be losing. You'd be better off to stay conventional and be able to give your cows medicine instead of treat them and get rid of them. You can give them medicine and then keep them instead of send them to slaughter. They give you $3 extra per hundredweight, but it just wasn't there. A couple years ago, if we could have done it when milk was super high, it would have been an easy cakewalk to go transit right into it. But the organic guys are paying, depends on the time of the year. The time of the year varies for them. They get a $3 bump between December to February because apparently dairy intake is higher that time of year, they say. They need to stop letting the big farms get even bigger. And they'll be the first ones to tell you that they're not the problem, but yet, why do you need to milk 3,000 cows? Or 2,000? Or even 1,000? I don't see why you have to be that greedy. Their debt load per cow is so lower compared to mine. They can go buy that $3,000 tractor. They can go get a loan like it's nothing. I can't afford that new tractor. I have to go buy a used one or keep what I got going. And even that, parts for those are getting hard to get because dealerships don't want you going buying those ones because they want the service work. Either get big or go home. That's how it's looking. You gotta milk. You almost have to start milking more cows because they're gonna start shutting us off, I feel. And you're gonna see this kind of barn like this is gonna go extinct. It's gonna be all freestyle, which is sad. I'd rather see barns like this. I'd rather go through the countryside and see a lot of little farms, family-run farms, than go see a 3,000 cow dairy.
I fear that it may become more difficult. There have been efforts to make it harder to sell meat, eggs, cheese from small producers. If that happens, that could strangle any incipient movement toward a smaller, more small d democratic agricultural system in this country.
In all honesty, I think it's too late for it. I think it's too far gone to save the small farm. You know, the organic guys are the only way they can stay small, because the big guys, you can't pasture all that many cows. They need all the land. If they want to, they almost need to have a thing for almost like a grant to keep us going. Will that happen? I doubt it, because big money, big talks.
What I expect, unfortunately, is much closer to my fears. And that has to do with the most recent election and the current administration and their orientation toward large corporate farms. There's been very little coming out yet from the Department of Agriculture and the new administration. It's only been the first 100 days, and we're not due for a farm bill for another 4 years. And I don't hold out a lot of hope that the next 4 years are going to be very positive.